Well, good evening. Welcome, one and all. Another Tuesday night is here. We're back to our usual spot at 8 p.m. on a Tuesday Super League Raw Weekly. Good evening, Steph. Good evening, Greg.
Good evening. Are you well?
Yes, very well. Very, very well indeed. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, your first job, your first mission of the evening, should you wish to accept it, is to like, share, subscribe and comment. Let all your friends know that Super League Raw Weekly has begun. The best community in rugby league and the finest magazine show that you're going to find online every single week. Oh yes. Anyway, there you go. Right, gentlemen, let's get straight into it. Before we kick off, let's say a few hellos in the chat. Already with us, Freddie McGilvery. Good evening, Freddie, a proud Super League Raw member. As is Greg Roach, as is Dawn Baker, as is Craig Rigby, as is Nicola Burtonwood. Alan Clegg still to join the Super League Raw membership. I'm sure he will at some point. And Peter Barley's with us as well. They're all coming in. Right, let's have a little catch up first and foremost with the Fantasy League. Let's get this one out of the way very, very early. Oliver Brown, take a bow, sir. You're not a member, but you're in the pole position for a replica shirt at the end of the season. A week-defining 898 points.
Wow.
Fantastic effort takes him to number one spot. And as you can see, none of our members are actually in the top five. But Ryan Birch keeps his hand on a season ticket. That's what the members are playing for. He is there. He's 6,533. Tony Pennington, 6,416. So it's still all to play for. Those two are still the ones to catch this season. Right, let's get right into it. The latest news, the latest rumours. Let's get to it. First and foremost, Elliot Whitehead, rumoured today to be considering Catalans or Hull FC. Coming in for a 34-year-old Elliot Whitehead. What do we make of that?
Still a decent player, Elliot Whitehead.
Yeah.
I think probably Catalans would be his favoured destination. No disrespect to Hull, but that seems to be where people who've gone to that part of the world seem to migrate to finish their careers. So yeah, I mean, I forgot to announce straight away. I've been signed by Hull as well, so you know, I don't see me a lot of days.
Happy days.
But yeah, it'd be good to see him back in Super League for a last hurrah.
Yeah, I mean, on this one, I mean, I think Greg said it there, you know, last payday, last hurrah. 34-year-old Whitehead's been a great pro down in the NRL, Steph. But, I mean, if this is, I mean, Hull FC, some of the signings that they're making, we'll get on to, well, you know, I'm sure, you know, we've seen the Asiata one and the silly money they've thrown at him. Some of the rumours in terms of who they're chasing, they're not setting the world on fire, are they, in terms of trying to change their fortunes?
Yeah, I always thought people went to Whitley Bay to retire, not Hull FC. But no, they're the big names, but they seem to be going for the older ones at this moment in time. I mean, they may be going for a blend, and they'll announce a load of youth signings as well. But they do seem to be picking up some coming to the end of their careers, albeit still quality players at this moment in time.
Yeah, I think that the injury crisis and the suspensions they've had have meant some young players have been blooded. Maybe a little bit before the time, so you might have hit the nail on the head there, Steph. Just somebody with a load of experience,
yeah,
who can give that added extra to the kids who've come through this season.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what they're looking at.
I just find that one really odd. Good evening to Lee Partington. Good to see you and your boy on Friday at the Thursday. Peter Mason. Hello to Peter as well. Richard Furphy's with us. Robert Higson back again for another week. Great to see. And Dawn Baker saying, "Evening, my Raw family." Very nice, Dawn. Very nice. That's what we like to see. Right. Aiden and Brown have swapped sides of the city at Hull, in Hull. Who's come off better? Steph, KR or Hull FC?
I think it's quite close, this one, but I'd say KR slightly.
I think Brown's a better player.
Yeah.
Steph, Greg?
Yeah, I was looking at, so I've got I've got a couple of Hull fans on Facebook saying that Brown's a bit of a penalty machine. But, you know, maybe, as somebody else pointed out, maybe frustrated at lack of opportunities or the team is playing in, whatever. So, yeah, I'm with Steph. I think Brown's is the better player, but, you know, we shall see.
We shall. Playing for FC this weekend should be Tiaki Chan, gone there on loan from Wigan. That's been announced today. And Chamberlain recalled. I'll come to Greg first for the Chan element. Chan to Hull FC, needs some game time.
He does, yeah.
Yeah.
He needs to. I know he played in the reserves at the weekend for Wigan. He needs to be getting first team rugby, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is an interesting point from Richard. All are going for some short term, unlike Casa are looking long term. I think that's a fair point. I think Casa are very much looking long term at the moment in terms of what they're doing. Chamberlain recall, something to do with the Asiata debacle. What do you think, Steph? A little bit of two fingers to Hull FC?
It does seem that way, doesn't it? I can't see any other reason unless we've got an injury to Latelli or Hardacre, which is probably not beyond the realms of possibility going the season's gone this year. But yeah, it does.
Mate, by all accounts, there's more calves at Leigh Leopards than there are on farms this year, mate.
Absolutely. But are we covering the Asiata thing, or do we do that to death at the point?
We did. I think we did that to death, didn't we? But I'll tell you what we can talk about. Let's talk about this. James Graham on NRL 360, if you haven't seen it, basically saying that the South Sydney Rabbitohs have been tapping up George Delaney from St Helens, and it's got right up St Helens' nose. I, quite frankly, if that is true, I don't know what the South Sydney Rabbitohs are playing at with this recruitment drive. I really, really don't. Delaney, of the 4 players that were listed, I'd be going probably for Dupree first. And for me, Steph, sorry to say this, but I think Tom Amone will be wearing a South Sydney Rabbitohs shirt next year. If I was a betting man, he's off contract at the end of the year. There's no better prop, certainly at that age as well, because he's still got a play Tom Amone. I think Tom Amone's going South Sydney. Your thoughts, Steph?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, and I think, to be fair to Tom, he's earned an NRL spot. He's right up there with the top props in Super League, if not the top. But you can't begrudge him. If you want to swap the Costa del Lee Marina here for Bondi Beach, you can begrudge him that. It'd be gutting for us Leigh fans, but nobody knew Tom Amone was 3 years ago. They'd never heard of him. So
we're not laughing at you, Steph. They just comment
of the night. Mark K, maybe a comment of the night. Hull have put an offer in for Leto, the Leigh mascot. Absolute comedy gold, Mark.
He's been watching the interview with Derek's questions, what he does on a Tuesday now. So that question came up on that. We're Hull putting a transfer request in for Leto. So Mark,
the first time I've heard it take a bow, sir.
And me.
Nicola Burtwood, devastated to hear that Tom Amone could be off. I'm sorry, Nick. I just cannot see Tom Amone being anywhere other than the NRL next season. I think Leigh will keep this very close to the chest after the Asiata debacle. But I would expect Amone, and I'm gutted because I'm not a Leigh fan, but I want quality players in our league, and I've really enjoyed watching Tom Amone. Greg, I know you have as well.
Tom Amone, Asiata as well. Going to back what I think Steph was going to say. Before Leto, the Leigh mascot, interrupted, that 3 or 4 years ago we didn't really know much about Tom Amone, and he's done something. He's done a good job for Leigh. I think like every Leigh fan will say that, and it's a shame for Leigh if he does go. But this is a lot of the times this is a reason why Aussie players who maybe aren't quite getting into first teams back at home come to Super League to put themselves in the shop window. I wouldn't be surprised if Amone is heading back home.
It's very similar to Chris Hill as an English player coming into the Championship with Leigh and then getting picked up by Warrington. It's the same kind of thing. Wigan Academy lad, and then coming to Leigh to earn his stripes and then moving on again. You can't begrudge him that.
No.
The point I was going to make was there's other Tom Amones out there, and it's a quota spot if he does go for Leigh, including Asiata. That's 2 quota spots we've got on a huge chunk of salary cap. So, that's the positive from Leigh. Players don't stay forever. You've got to keep moving on and finding the next ones.
The thing, I completely agree with that. I think the thing here, though, for you, Steph, and we've seen other clubs have the same problem. It's not the fact that these are moving on; it's the fact they're moving on at the same time, and that is really disruptive because they're not fringe players. these are first names on team sheet players that have been phenomenal for you. And like I say, I'm gutted because, I think there's been nothing better than watching Amone. I've got a soft spot for props, and he's been class.
Yeah, he has. But as Derek says, trust the process.
Well, Dawn Baker saying she's happy because they'll keep Dupree. Maybe. Maybe I would hold off on that one, Dawn. I would hold off on that.
Was it Dawn that was shouting at us for giving raps to all the Wigan players and they all go down?
I think the rumours of Tyler Dupree going to the NRL have not stopped with the South Sydney Rabbitohs. Let me put it that way.
And December maybe as well.
I think December probably a few years out. But I just think it's really odd. Delaney for me. I'm a Souths fan down in the Southern Hemisphere. I'm sorry, but Delaney has got a lot of potential. But there's a big difference at the moment between him and Nsemba for me. I think Nsemba's a monster. Absolutely going to be outstanding. And I'm sorry, the hole that the South Sydney Rabbitohs are in, they need a Tom Amone. They need big powerhouse forward because Burgess is coming to Huddersfield, isn't he? So they need a big powerhouse forward to get in there and start mixing it up because at the moment they're so lightweight in the pack. And for me, George Delaney, here and now, I'm not saying in 3, maybe 4 years' time, God, look what I've had to say about Tex Hoy this season. He's shutting me up. But at the moment, I think, George Delaney is a few years off NRL. I really do. As is Nsemba. I just think at the moment, Nsemba is probably edging him in terms of progress.
And talking about as is Dodd, I think Dodd. We spoke about Dodd last week, so we're not going to go over all ground. But it's the same kind. Maybe they have something in place to develop these players.
Well, Breeze has turned Hull FC down, hasn't he?
Yeah.
That's come out. Is Billy Steed. Hello, Billy. Again, can't remember Billy's name coming up this season. Welcome to Super League Raw, Billy. Breers as FC's next head coach. He's turned it down, mate, unless they've thrown more money at him. But it was a firm no from Lee Breers, and he's hearing that Ollie Russell is done for the rest of the season too. So are you saying that he's going to FC? I've not heard that one. Is that
Lee Breers is loving it down under?
Yeah,
absolutely loving it. I don't think he'll be back here for quite some time.
And McDermott's ruled himself out as well, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He's staying in Newcastle.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see who lands in the FC job. Would not surprise me if Simon Grigg sat there from now until the end of the season. Sam Esser back to Castleford, of course, been there once already, got an injury. He's back in the Castleford team. Probably talk about them in a bit as well. Right, Lewis Dodd. Where you know me. I like some detail, boys. I like some detail. Lewis Dodd. Right, I'm sorry, he's going to my South Sydney Rabbitohs down in the Southern Hemisphere, like we've already said. Where is it? I've got it somewhere. There it is. Right, so I've not included Lachlan Lamb in this for the pure reason he's an Australian. He's from that hemisphere, should I say? He's New Zealand, is he? Papua New Guinea?
No, he's English. Non-quota.
Lamb is he?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Well, he's
play for Wigan St. Pat's. Non-quota.
Yeah. Saying that internationally, he'd want to play over there, wouldn't he? But anyway, that's another story. So anyway, doesn't he? He'd want to play for one of them. Anyway, I've not included Lachlan Lamb in this for the pure reason he's been over there, he's played over there, and they know all about him. They know all about him. So the fact that they haven't took Lachlan Lamb is a bit of an head scratcher. So what I've done is I've actually done it with the other two, arguably the other two halfbacks that surely they were looking at as well. Now, these are appearances 23 and 24 combined in Super League. So as you can see, 2 appearances between them. Look at the try difference for Mikey Lewis. Look at the try assist difference, the other 2. Look at the tackle buster Lewis. Clean breaks are Lewis. The only thing that Doddy's got on Lewis is, it would appear, he's a much more efficient tackler, but and he makes less errors. But
do you not think that's Dave? Do you not think that's because he's played fullback for a period for KR?
Well, maybe. But but in terms of errors, he likes to throw the ball around, and with this type of player, Michael Lewis being that type of player, he's going to make the odd error because he's always looking to unleash havoc, isn't he? That's what he does. But when you actually look at these 3. I am scratching my head how Lewis Dodd is going to the South Sydney Rabbitohs on a 3-year contract when the likes of Smith, Lewis, Lamb, this graphic tells it all. Is Lewis Dodd a, dare I say it, saviour for the South Sydney Rabbitohs, or could they have got something far better?
Yeah, I mean, I'd have chucked the book at Mikey Lewis if I was them. If you're going for an English halfback, and a bit like the Tom Amone thing, isn't it? Young lad. I just think they've got the wrong one. But whether that Lewis might not want to go to Australia, we don't know that, do we?
Well, we don't. Alex Sharp saying that we offered them Frawley, but they said keep him. Very generous of you, that, Alex, I have to say. Very, very generous indeed. But, Greg, when we put these graphics up, we do it every now and again. I just wanted a bit of substance because I think we're all surprised that Dodd's going to South Sydney. I don't think any of us see Lewis Dodd as a starting 7 for the South Sydney Rabbitohs in the NRL. These are his stats in Super League. Super League is a slower game. And these are his stats. He's going to go to a league fast-paced, far more competitive. And I think it was Alex who said on the Final Whistle podcast, has that drop goal loomed large in the memory of South Sydney's power brokers? And what they haven't done is he's gone into the detail.
Maybe, but you make an interesting point about the number of tackles. And that could very well be a stat as well that swung it in his favour.
Yeah.
Because, Aussie teams build from the defence up. So, I mean, I'm still scratching my head how they didn't go for Welsby. Or whether they did, and Welsby said no.
Yeah.
But those tackles, 605 tackles, that might be what swung it his way.
Maybe better indeed. Maybe.
I don't know. Do you?
I mean, we all wish him well, but like I said,
in the world.
I just think it's still a head scratcher for me. It really is, and I don't think it stops there in terms of British talent.
Yeah, especially when you think that Lomax isn't getting any younger as well. Sorry to talk over you there, Dave. Lomax isn't getting any younger as well. So as people are saying, they'll put Welsby in the halves, which I think is a good move. I think Welsby to the halves could be a good move. But then, in a couple of years' time, they're going to have to look to replace Lomax. And Dodd and Welsby in the halves in a couple of years' time would have been an interesting combination. Now it's Welsby, another, with another at fullback, whether Betterson's going to fill in full time at fullback now.
Well, they're saying Mbai can play half, can't he, as well?
There is that, yeah. There is that. Which frees up Daz Clark.
Easier to buy a hooker than a half.
Yeah.
Well, by all accounts, the number one target is Mikey Lewis. Don't see that happening. Does anyone see that happening, Mikey Lewis to Saints?
I'd be surprised, but
I'd be surprised.
You never know. If they chuck stupid money at him.
It's one to watch. But yeah, I just thought I'd put a little bit of analysis forward for Lewis Dodd. We all wish him well, but I think what's also really interesting in there hasn't been many Saints fans that have come out saying they're disappointed, which also tells a story.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, if somebody came along and took one of your better players like Steph there, Asiata, Amone, if that actually happens, Leigh fans will be crying in the beer and, it'll all be all over social media how disappointed everybody is. But there's been none of that for Lewis Dodd, has there?
No, not that we've seen or not that I've seen.
No,
certainly not on Red V as well. There's not been a lot of wailing and gnashing of teeth on Red V.
Well, I have noticed that their show times have reduced dramatically in the last couple of weeks. Maybe they'll get back to normal time length in the next couple of weeks. Our friends over there. If they ever want to come on, they're always welcome. Always welcome.
Yes, please.
Always welcome on Super League Raw. Right. Is there any more news, gentlemen? Anything else that's caught your eye in the last couple of days that we haven't spoke about? Comings, goings, rumours. Luke Yates to Warrington continues to gather momentum. I think that's pretty much done, is what I'm hearing. But anything else? No,
there was a little bit of a peep about Charlie maybe leaving Libra. I think he's just recently signed a contract, hasn't
he? I don't think he's signed.
I've heard that he has, but it's not been announced.
Yeah, they've said that there's a couple more retentions being announced this week apparently, and I'd like to think he's one of those.
Yeah.
Ollie Holmes is very strongly rumoured now to be going to
FC. Again, Ollie Holmes. Now, don't get me wrong, Ollie Holmes was quality at Castleford. He was at Dire at Warrington. He's had a couple of good moments at Leigh, but he's not really threatened starting lineup at Leigh. He's been a fringe player at Leigh. And they're going to take him to All FC. And you're just scratching your head going, is this supposed to make that 10,500 fans excited? I mean, Steph, you said on Final Whistle, Asiata's played how many games?
He's played 1 in 15.
Right, so they're buying him. I mean, hopefully he gets fit and he does play for him. But he's coming with injury concerns. He's 31. And then they signed the likes of Ollie Holmes and...
But Anasiata's out with a hamstring now for another 6 weeks. So that's a calf and hamstring now.
Alex Sharp has put in there. Reece Martin to Dolphins. I think we mentioned that podcast on Monday, didn't we?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Craig Rigby there in the chat, other news. I'll be honest with you, Craig, I'm not really going to give this much credence now. The actions of KR and Saints fans, not even going to give him any publicity. Said everything I needed to say.
Said enough on Monday.
Yeah, I said it on Monday. I'm not going to give him any more. Let the club sorted out. Let's get him banned. Let's move on. Is what I would say on that one. Right, okay. Let's but keep him coming, Craig. Keep him coming. Right, should we get into the top performers for round number 10?
Why not?
Should we do that? Have a look at the performers. Here they come. The top performers.
Let's do it.
Are your top performers from round number 10 of the Betfred Super League. The top try scorer this week with a magnificent hat-trick for the Warrington Wolves was Josh Bewlis. Nene McDonald, Conrad Hurrell and Lewis Senior, each got 2. The most try assists came from Lockie Miller and Andy Ack of the Leeds Rhinos, as well as Mikey Lewis of the Robins with 3. The top meter maker of the round was Nene McDonald of the Salford Red Devils with 253. Josh Charlie got 252, Matt Duffy 248 and Adam Swift 221. The top tackle busters were Lockie Miller and Tim Lafai with 12. Ricky Latelli, Mark Percival and Petter Hiku each got 10. The most clean breaks came from Tex Hoy and Josh Bewlis with 3. Whilst the most offloads came from Ellie El Zakim and Will Lavelle with 4. The top hard meter maker, you've got to be a prop forward, second row or loose forward in this one, was Tom Amone of the Leigh Leopards with 198. Alex Mellor got 195, Michael Gillespie 164 and Liam Watts 148. The top tackler was once again Oliver Partington with 50, Ellie El Zakim, Matty Nicholson and Sam Stone each got 46. And finally, the top goal kicker was Reece Martin of the Leeds Rhinos with 7, Mikey Lewis got 6 and Harry Smith got 5. These were your top performers from round number 10.
So there you go, the top performers from round number 10. Wasn't it wonderful to see so many Castleford Tigers shirts in that?
Read my mind there, Dave. I was just going to say, great to see so many Cast Tigers shirts.
Isn't it?
I thought had a really good game.
Mate, he's having a great season, mate. Yeah. He's having
a great They were outstanding Castleford against us.
Yeah, they were, mate. They were. And good to see that. I mean, here's what I mean. Don't get me wrong, it galvanised Huddersfield Giants. It certainly didn't take away from them when Mr. Wallace got sent off. But the fact that there's been no further action, that does not bode well for the. I mean, we have been very, very gracious to the officials this season. But in a big game, that nonsense of a decision could be the difference between a grand final win or not. It was one of the most honest. And the fact that the MVP have not even decided to stand on it. I mean, for me, questions have to be asked there of both the video referee and the match official on the day. Because, like I say, in a big game, that's the difference between winning and losing.
Well, I hate to mention the union thing, but I think Greg had it absolutely right earlier in the season when he said, I think now we've got these games live on TV every game, that there should be no red cards. They should all go as yellows and be reviewed in the, while they've got time to analyse it while the game carries on, and then it gets changed to a red if it deserves it. I think we've got to go down that route if this is the way they're going to officiate it.
Yeah.
But as somebody said on Monday, on Monday's podcast, it was the same ref that sent the Hull player off for that ridiculous red card against Warrington, and that turned the game in Warrington's favour.
Yeah,
Hull win that game, and they could very well have won that game against Warrington's second game in the season, but for that red card, they were playing really well, and that set them on that spiral of going backwards a little bit. But yeah, same referee.
Yeah, it was the same ref as the new Brown one, wasn't it? And like I say, that he's not covered himself in much glory there. That, for me, really, really poor decision. Really, really important decision. Right. Right. I will come back to that, Greg. I will come back to that. Mr. Roach getting into there with the hoister. What's changed for Hoy, in my opinion? I'll come back to that. But first of all, should we all laugh at the goal fort? Let's just have a little giggle at the goal fort. We're going to come to the goal fort and where we're up to with that in a couple of moments' time. But yeah, let's go straight to that Warrington game. So the goal for 3 for Fewlis. I don't think anybody could argue. Josh Fewlis on the night, 20 points out of 24, had to be man of the match. No question there. They gave 2 to George Williams. I thought George Williams, in the absence of Hayes, kicked really well. Nice try. Got no issue with that. But then we get to the 1 point. And the 1 point goes to Jack Walker. I mean,
where's Matty Nicholson? He was super.
Well, I mean, mate, it does make you just scratch your head, doesn't it? And go, what on earth? How on earth does Jack Walker get a point? And what I would say as well about the Goldthorpe is it would appear they want Mark Sneed to be man of steel, to be the Albert Goldthorpe winner, because he got 3 points against Huddersfield. And I don't get me wrong, he was tidy, but he weren't Nene McDonald, was he?
No. Nene McDonald was outstanding.
Anybody with a pair of eyes, including a donkey, could see that Nene McDonald was man of the match in that game. Wouldn't you agree?
He always gets that, though.
Hey! Go on, lad. There you go. We like it. Fantastic stuff. There you go. Set up to perfection. Tex Hoy, what's changed? I think I'll get the lads' opinions as well on this. I'll answer this, Greg. I think what we're seeing with Tex Hoy is a lad that plays on confidence. And clearly, at Hull FC, it was knocked out of him. Now, I'm not going to get into why, where, whatever, but I think Steph said it either this time last week or in the final whistle. You know, certain players play for certain coaches. And I think that Tex Hoy, the dramatic shift has got to come down to attitude and application. Has to. So for me, that would be my answer. Lads, your thoughts?
He's obviously happy where he is now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I think Tony Smith can be like Marmite for some players. He's a great coach, but I think he can be. You know, look at how he treated Brett Hodgson towards the end of his Warrington career. So I think maybe it might have been a bit of a toxic atmosphere at Hull while Tony Smith was there. And he's actually, you know, he's happy and enjoying his game. Maybe he's been given a little more freedom with the way he's got nothing to lose as well. No pressure on him.
No.
He's gone to a side that, you know, are scrabbling around for points. There's no pressure on him to perform. No. That's my thoughts on it anyway.
There's some young lads as well in that back line, Cass, isn't there? So he's more of a bit of a leader there now in that back line. And I think Lingard's probably just go and do your stuff, you know, show how good you are. And, you know, it's like when he got the hook in it at Hull FC at half time, you know, you could obviously tell there was something between him and Smith that wasn't right. So it's great. I'm so glad for him as a person that it's actually working out for him there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, we want to see players apply themselves. We want to see and have to. I mean, I think for me, a defining moment for Tex Hoy at the weekend was his try. I mean, to do to Latelli what he did to Latelli. I mean, he ran through him. I mean, that is a completely different Tex Hoy because you know he couldn't run through a daisy field when he was at Hull FC. Let alone
it was Hardacre he ran over, weren't it?
No, it was Latelli. I'm sure it was Rick Latelli
on the right side.
I'm pretty confident it was Latelli, mate. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I'm pretty certain for whatever reason Latelli was over that side. And
I think it was Hardacre, mate.
If we're going off the commentary, they were getting names wrong all afternoon.
Well, yeah.
Well, I'm not saying I'm not sticking up for anybody in this particular fight, but if we're going off the commentary, we're getting names wrong left, right, and centre.
If I'm wrong, Steph, I bow. It was 100% Hardacre, so it would appear I'm wrong. It was Hardacre. But yeah, I mean,
can't be perfect all the time, Dave.
I can't, mate. You know, look, I'm watching 6 games. I'm trying to analyse them all. Exactly. Yeah, I'm only human. You know, throw the dog a bone. You know what I'm saying? Is what I would say. I mean, look, first and foremost, like I say, go and listen to the Final Whistle podcast. We had a massive debate of all of the 6 games from round number 10. There were some absolute beauties in there. Salford Huddersfield didn't let us down at all. Great game at Leigh Sports Village. That was a belter. I mean, KR Saints was a thing of beauty. I mean, look, forget the fact that Saints were beat 40 points to 20. Some of the tries, even the Wellesby try in that game. If you haven't seen tries of the week, get over to the YouTube channel. You know, I think there's about 4 tries from that KR Saints game in tries of the week because there were just some beauties. So again, we said it on the Final Whistle, Rugby League this weekend. was the winner again, because with the exception of maybe one or two games, they were proper matches, weren't they?
If you tuned in on Saturday and that you watched OKR Saints and then Leigh Castleford, the tries were just, what an advert for our sport those two games were.
Yeah, no, absolutely agree.
I go down to say that Leigh Castleford was one of the games of the season so far.
Yeah. It had everything, didn't it?
Yeah.
And it was great that Cass showed up and really put it to us, and they thoroughly deserved the 1 point in that game.
Kai Fowler saying, if you watch the Super League Plus interview with Mikey Lewis, he talks about his ambitions to play in the NRL. So that could be an interesting watch for those who have got Super League Plus. We are hoping to get Mikey Lewis as an in-conversation guest.
That'd be good.
That'd be marvellous if we could get him. Whilst we've got a bit of time, we're doing well for time tonight. Adrian Lamb to Hull FC. There's no doubt for me they've approached him. There's no doubt. Why wouldn't you? Mm-hmm. So, if they've gone for Paul Rowley, they're going for Lamb. There's no doubt about that. The question now is going to be very similar to Asiata. How much money did he want to throw at Adrian Lamb? Because for me, the only reason that Adrian Lamb would leave Leigh Leopards for Hull FC would be a few shilling. It's the only reason.
Yeah, and one of the good things that's coming out of it from obviously people don't know I'm a Leigh fan, but one of the good things that's coming out of it for me is that we're not going to be held to ransom no matter who it is. And Derek has already said that we will have 3 marquee players next season, and we'll be spending the full salary cap, and we'll have a high quality coach. So again, nobody's irreplaceable. We'd all love Adrian Lamb to stay, of course we would. We'd all love Asiata to stay. But if he decides he wants to go and they offer him stupid money, then he'll go with our best wishes, because he took us to a Challenge Cup final. Same with Asiata. They'll always have legendary status in Leigh, and he'll go with our best wishes. But we don't want that to happen. Obviously, we want to keep him.
Sometimes you have to be careful as a coach, don't you? You see it in other sports. Coaches make the names. It's fair to say Adrian Lamb's made his name as a coach at Leigh. Fair to say. If he goes to Hull or maybe even Leeds, who's to say he's going to be a success there? We see it in other sports. Other managers are a success at clubs go to. And this is no disrespect to Leigh Steff in any way, shape or form, but to a so-called bigger club, and they fail. How many times have we seen that in other sports?
Yeah,
well, it might not be the best thing that Adrian Lamb could do.
Yeah. Sean, we've already talked about a little while, I said, mate, that was done earlier in the show. Don't rewind, stay with us, have a look at that later. Forgive me, boys, I was just doing a few bits and pieces there. I don't know if Steph said this. If he did, my apologies. I was half there. But here's the thing for me. If you're Adrian Lamb, who do you want your chairman to be? I'll just leave it there.
And your director of rugby. One of the things with Lamb is he gets on very, very well with Chris Chester.
Yeah.
Very, very well, works very well with him. So you're going to swap that for Richie Miley, who likes announcing players. Wouldn't have even told about it.
Yeah. He also likes to try and shake hands to former gladiators in the arena, and we know where that got him on Thursday night. But anyway, that's another story. Right, boys, we've already spoken about we're going to laugh at the Albert Goldthorpe. Let's take a look at where the league tables now. Yet again, the Man of Steel is delayed. What have they been doing over Bank Holiday? Should have come out today. They haven't announced the round 10, so it's up to round 9 for the Man of Steel. But should we check in on the trophies? Let's check in on the player trophies. It's round 10 after all. Here come the league tables.
To check in on the 2024 Player of the Year awards after 10 rounds, starting with the Albert Goldthorpe medal. And leading the table is Mark Sneed of the Salford Red Devils with 17 points. Then in joint second are Theo Farge of the Catalan Dragons, Nene McDonald of the Salford Red Devils, Adam Swift of Huddersfield Giants and Lockie Miller of Leeds Rhinos, all on 9 points. The Steve Prescott Man of Steel table. This is after 9 rounds, as round 10 Man of Steel points have yet to be announced. Leading this one is Mark Sneed of the Salford Red Devils with 9 points. In joint second are Mikey Lewis of OKR and Nene McDonald of Salford Red Devils with 8. In fourth spot is Matt Moylan of the Leigh Leopards with 7. And in fifth place, joint are Matt Duffy, Darryl Clark, Ash Handley, Patrick Mago, Junior Ensemba and Jake Connor, all on 6. The Super League Raw Trophy 2024. Leading this table is once again Mark Sneed of the Salford Red Devils with 23. In second place is Tim Lafay of the Salford Red Devils with 18. Adam Swift and Matt Duffy joint third with 17, whilst Nene McDonald is fifth with 16. These are the current rankings in the 2024 Player of the Year Award League tables.
So there you go. That's where they are. Steph's just gone and picked it. I think he's in the fridge as we speak. He'll be back in a moment. But that leaves, it's like the old days, Greg. Just me and you.
Just me and you.
Just me and you.
Hey.
Just the two of us, but we won't break into song. But yeah, I mean, look, what's interesting here, remember, we announced how we're scoring this. So just to remind people, the way we're scoring it is different to how the Goldthorpe and the Man of Steel are scoring. They're just doing 3-2-1 in every game. We're doing the same, 3-2-1 in every game. But a player who we pick for Team of the Week gets an extra point because they're the best in their position for that week. What we're also doing is people who make Team of the Month, sorry, Team of the Week gets an extra point. People who get Team of the Month, they've been consistent over the entire month. They've had to have played every game and they've been the best in their position. So they pick up another 2 points for that. And then finally, we give the Player of the Month 3 points. So what it'll do is we think our scoring criteria is going to make it a little bit more interesting. So let's compare and contrast these league tables. We'll start with ours, actually. Sorry, where is ours? There's ours. We'll start with ours first. Sneed is top across all three. What's really interesting about our table is that Tim Lafay and Nene McDonald are both in there, which is really, three Salford players. Now, don't get me wrong, they're catching Sneed all the time. I'll explain to you what's going on beneath that in a moment. But Adam Swift, I think nobody could argue. Swifty's been brilliant this season. Duffy's been brilliant. Don McDonald, Tim Lafay, Mark Sneed. That's how ours is panning out. People will be thinking, well, okay, well, what's underneath that? So what I'm going to do for each one of these, I'm going to tell you who the top 10 are. So on 14 points in our league table are three players. Those players are Mikey Lewis, no arguments, Essen Masters on 14, and Jordan Abdul on 14. In ninth place, joint ninth place on 12 points is Ash Handley and Petter Hiku. So that's our top 10. So I'm pretty comfortable with that top 10. Guys, how are you feeling?
Yeah, absolutely. I think they're the I can't think of anybody else really who'll be going, oh my God, they need to be in. They're the top performers definitely this year.
Yeah. Now, here's another interesting bit of a stat for you. And in fact, this is really interesting. So Super League Raw have given 120 players at least a point thus far in 2024. The Albert Goldthorpe, 106 players. But here's the interesting one. Man of Steel, 89. Now, that's an alarming difference.
Yeah.
An alarming difference. So let's shoot across to the Man of Steel table. Sneed on 9, Mikey Lewis, Nene McDonald on 8. It's tight. Don't get me wrong, it is tight, but it's 89 players only. Then you've got that clutch there at the bottom, Matt Duffy, Darryl Clark, Ash Hanley, Patrick Mago, and Sember and Connor. That's pretty much a top 10. Now, the one that sticks out there for me, there's a couple. Jake Connor in the top 10 in 2024. Does anybody see Jake Connor's form this season a top 10 for Man of Steel?
No. He's had a couple of good games.
Yes. Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I'm surprised at Darryl Clark as well.
Clark, yeah. I think Nzemba's been class. Don't get me wrong. I think fortunate to be in the top 10, but Nzemba has been class. Handley, yeah, he's probably still up there from his heroics prior to going out injured. Got no issue with that. At that point in the season, he was the best player in the league at that point in the season. Certainly he's a finisher. So I've got no issue with that. And even point to Matt, as good as Matt Moylan has been, it's only been over the last maybe 3 or 4 rounds. He was the first, tell me if I'm wrong, Steph, for the first 5, he was growing into it. But the last couple of rounds, that's probably where he's picked those points up. But again, is Matt Moylan currently across 10 rounds, top 10?
But this is the problem with the system, isn't it? Because doesn't he pick up 3 points if he's like the star player of that game?
Correct.
So he only needs 2 man of the matches, and he's in the top 5.
Yeah.
Well, Craig Rigby's bounced in here and said Jake Connor's not even in the top 50. That's an interesting point. It's an interesting point. But I mean, for me, you look at that and you think, yeah, I'm not 100% certain on that one. And then we go to the Goldthorpe. Sneed again, but there he is, Theo Farge. I mean, how is Theo Farge currently joint second for the Albert? I mean, and this is why I think our point system is going to it eradicates this, because, like you say, I mean, Theo Farge can have 3 good games in 10 rounds, and he's second.
Yeah, and that's probably what's happened.
Yeah, it couldn't happen the way we're scoring it. It just couldn't happen. You know, as we're seeing with Mark Sneyd. Last month, Sneedy in our league table, like he was with every other. I mean, look at the lead he's got there in the Goldthorpe. He was head and shoulders away because he got player of the month. He was in team of the month. You know, when we did this last month, Sneedy was away. But again, going back to our league table, they're catching him up. They're catching him up because his form has not been as great in the second half. So it's just really, I think we're onto something with this. I think when we get to the end of the campaign, it's going to be very interesting to see how our league table compares to the others, and then the fans forum, the people who watch us getting involved. And, you know, I'll be asking the question, in your opinion, which of those league tables is a fairer reflection on the season? If it's not ours, it's not ours. But I think as we sit here now, already we're starting to see that ours has got a lot of credibility already.
Yeah, I think with the Goldthorpe, it very much smacks of picking star players, you know, names, rather than actually looking at the stats, looking what players have actually done. And this is why Sneed's getting it every week with the Goldthorpe at Salford. But actually, when you look at some of the other performances like Laffey and McDonald, you know.
I agree 100% with you there, Steph, yeah.
Well, there's Joel in the chat. How's he ahead of Swift?
Exactly.
And that's that. He's spot on. And Joel, we are missing you, mate. You know, we were expecting our Joel with us tonight, but he's obviously doing something far better than just catching it on the fly.
Going back to what Steph was saying there, I think in the past that it's definitely name that has been it's name rather than performance with Goldthorpe and Man of Steel to a certain degree.
Yeah,
and you can see that the kind of. You can see it in commentaries as well. You could certainly see it over the last few years in commentaries. And you know, people like Sam Tompkins saying Jack Wellsby, best player in Super League. Well, not this season he isn't. Not by a million miles he's the best player in Super League this season, but they're still spouting it. You know, I call it the Tedesco effect in Australia.
Yeah.
Tedesco could run the water on and the commentators explode. You know, it's the same over here with players like Tompkins and Wellsby.
Well,
you know,
at the risk of upsetting one of my oldest friends, Mr. Cartledge, don't know what planet you're on there, mate. So he's saying that Fulis got man of the match for scored actually on Friday, but he was never man of the match. Steve, he was man of the match. 20 out of 24 points, got a gash on his head, went and got it stitched, come back on, scores a hat-trick, kicks all of his goals. Mate, what more do you want? That's not man of the match.
The medical staff should have got at least 1 point for getting him on within the time frame for 40 stitches or whatever.
Well, when he came back on, I thought we'd re-sign Chris Hill.
Yeah. No, I think Fulis was exceptional. Sorry, Steve, I don't disagree with you often, mate, but Fulis was exceptional.
Who did Steve think was man of the match?
Yeah, Steve, get it in the chat. Get it in the chat. Who do you think was man of the match? Fantastic. Okay, right. Okie dokie. Dawn Baker. There's our Dawn. Big fan of Reece Walsh over Tedesco. Any day of the week. Yeah, I mean, Tedesco, possibly the twilight of his career now. Reece got his entire career ahead of him. Be interesting to see, you know, I think Tedesco in his prime. Interesting. Steve's gone Dufty. Yeah, Dufty had another good game. I'm not disputing that. But
and we got to give a mention to Andy Bibby because I think it's the 4th time he's put it in the chat. Nobody in Warrington would swap Fulis for Wellsby. Quite right at this moment in time.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I really don't know.
I wouldn't know this moment in time.
I don't know about that, quite frankly. I think we're not comparing apples with apples there.
I'm not from Warrington, so I'm saying no.
No. I am, and I'm saying it. If somebody offered me as good a player, you know, as well as Josh Fulis playing at the weekend, salary cap, no salary cap. Somebody offered me Wellsby for Fulis, I'd bite their hand off. So that's just, you know me, I call it straight. Like Josh, proud wire, happy days. But he's not Jack Wellsby. Come on, let's not be silly. Right, okay, so here we go. We're going to go into... Well, yeah, if you want to put your primrose and blue glasses on, mate, you crack on. Right, okay.
I never take them off, Dave.
Well, it's a good job I do. Anyway, here we go. Let's get into the team of the week. Here it comes. Team of the week for round number 10. Here we go. Is proudly sponsored by the Good Estate Agent. Join the Rugby League community in trusting Stefan and his team when you are buying, letting or selling property.
It's the Super League Roll Team of the Week for round number 10 with the good estate age of 2024. Here we go again at fullback. Well, Beyonce, you're right. This ain't Texas, it's Tex Hoy. And this man knows how to take the Leopards down, down and down again. Yet again, the hoister has slapped me in the face, and I love it. At 2 is the 2023 Young Player of the Year, Josh Bewlis, even dressed up to impress his lurch from the Adams family. His tries belong in as a museum so that fans can come to see him. At 3 is the quite simply irresistible Nene McDonald. His performances are as tasty as a 3 Michelin star lobster thermidor, and looking at the defence attempts against him this season, he hasn't gone easy on the garlic, has it? At 4 is Jack Broadbent on debut for the Robins. Not only do we get to see Broadbent lay down a marker to the absent Upper Chicken Gildart, but he was a jumping Jack Flash after his try, having a gas. At 5, well, many will have overlooked him due to Louis Senior's heroics for the Castleford Tigers, but Josh Charlie not only made one but scored one, but no other winger in the league did as much graft as Josh in round number 10, and that's why he's got our place at number 5. At 6 is George Williams once more. Try number 5 of the season was a beauty, but his kicking game in the absence of Leon Hayes was a tonic without the gin, albeit there was a smidgen of lime. At 7 was Mikey Lewis of the Robins. No wonder Saints have made him their number 1 target to replace Lewis Dodd at the end of the season, but why would Mikey want to step down? At 8 is the potentially South Sydney bound Tom Amone. For those who love good bruising action down the middle, it's time to savour the big man as he goes on a final tour of the UK in 2024. At 9 is the handy Andy Ackers, who looked more like it against the Broncos. Is he a pretender? Well, don't get me wrong, he was not vintage, but Leeds will stand by you, Andy, as long as you continue to put brass, or maybe even Castleford Tigers, in your pocket. At 10 is Castleford Tigers' Liam Watts, who stood up to the challenge of Amone superbly at the LSB. For a team that are not used to electricity every now and again, Liam was supercharged and delivered a performance of aggression. At 11 is Alex Mellor, also of the Castleford Tigers. The combination of Wood, Senior and Mellor is starting to strike fear into the Super League. If you listen carefully, you can hear them all recite the great poet Rose in a chorus. Do you know where you are? You're in the jungle, baby, as they roll out the red carpet. At 12 is a player who was having a fantastic season, Dean Hadley. He's playing textbook Rugby League now for the Robins. If he carries on like this, he will end up right next to John Steinbeck's and Mice and Men, and we all know who played which part this weekend, don't we? And at 13, for the second time this season, is the tackling machine, Oliver Parkinson. In a game of inches, you need players who will make the ultimate sacrifice by putting their body on the line for the squad. First over the top, time and time again, was Ollie. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your team of the week for round number 10.
So there you go, the team of the week for round number 10. Mr. Nixon, over to you.
Thought Liam Watts was absolutely magnificent.
Yes, he was.
On Saturday. I think I said that in the podcast.
Yeah.
I thought he was absolutely magnificent.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's good. Like you say, it's good to see some Castleford players in there.
Yeah.
We're always going to get a good number of Hull KR players in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, a sound solid team again, Dave.
Yeah, absolutely. Steph, over to you.
Yeah, I think on form, I think this is one of the best team of the weeks. Great to see Mikey Lewis back in there, well deserved. Yeah. On that one, and the Ackers as well. I thought was recovering a bit of form from a poor performance a couple of weeks before. So, you know, I thought he played really, really well. And Tom Amone and Josh Charlie's meters were just ridiculous. But great to see those Cass players in there and thoroughly deserved. As I said earlier, they were outstanding Castleford at the weekend.
Well, Greg Roach says, team of the week, loving it. Jumping Jack Flash, Adams family finger clicking for Fewless Watts. So you missed that one, Steph, while you were getting your beer. You know, for a club that runs out of electricity every now, he was supercharged. Was Liam Watts for this one, my friend. Outstanding stuff. That's what we're talking about. Well, look, again, team of the week, that's what it's all about. When you compare and contrast that to the official team of the week, this was it. Just get rid of the, I don't know what from there, just take Dawn off for a second. You know, very similar to us. Kieran, sorry, no. How Jack Broadbent doesn't, and again, going back to Steve's point about names, Jack Broadbent had a far better game for Hull KR than Adam Kieran did for Wigan. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You know, and what surprised me when I put the team of the week together, and this is how we do it, you know, we don't try and get people in because of who they play for and for the sake of it. It surprised me that not a single Wigan player was in this week's team of the week. But when you actually analyse each individual player in each individual position, then I'm afraid to say that Alex Mellor had a far better game against Leigh than Liam Fowler did against Catalan. Adam Kieran was nowhere near it. Jack Broadbent all day long. I'm sorry to say. Sam Lazzone, I mean, I'll get Alex Sharp's view on this, but how does Sam Lazzone and Luke Thompson replace Tom Amone and Liam Watts? I mean, it's just, and look, we're massive fans of Minchella, but Oliver Partington, you take Partington out of that game against Huddersfield, the amount of tackling he did, 50 tackles in that game. He was some of the hits he put on were massive at key moments of the game. I'm sorry to say, but you've got to call it straight. And for me, whilst there's a lot of similarities between the two teams, I'll stand by ours every week.
Yeah. I think maybe the difference there as well, Dave, and this is not dissing your team in the week in any way. They've looked at who they played against as well.
Yeah.
A little bit, Farrell against Catalan, Minchella against Saints. So maybe I'm just saying maybe that's got a bit of a bearing on it.
I mean, we big Broadbent up, while he was at Castleford.
Yeah.
What a player he is, and on debut at KR, that was a great way to introduce yourself. And I'll put it out there. I think he's going to be a huge player for Hull KR going forward.
Yeah,
big time. And Alex Sharp there in the comments, Tex Hoy over Miller must have been close. It was. Dufty was in there, Miller was in there, Tex Hoy. But again, I think it shows a lot about my unbiased nature and credibility. Nobody's given Tex Hoy more pelters than me. It'd be very easy for me to keep him on the sidelines and not blush on Super League Raw Weekly. But bottom line is, Tex Hoy against Leigh was phenomenal.
Credit where credit's due, isn't it?
Yeah, phenomenal. Let's be fair, he tormented Leigh in that game. So, credit.
He did when he was at Hull FC, to be fair. In the game when we absolutely destroyed him, he was the only player who played well for Hull FC.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get serious for a minute. Great stuff. Keep the comments coming. Stuart, you must hate. Oh, hang on. What are we saying here? What's going on here? Oh, what's going on here? Hang on. I don't know what's happened here. Hang on a minute. Oh,
I think we're getting pelters.
You why a lot? No. Liam Fowler is one of the greatest players ever to play in Super League. Full stop. Bevan French is the biggest superstar we've got in the division. Do you want me to carry on, Stu?
December. We've
been bigging him up. He's going NRL. That'll disappoint you, but he will. He'll end up in the NRL. He's that good. And I actually spent the evening with a Wigan Warriors fan in his company. And let me tell you, you're going to have a word with Pete, who hosted me, Stu. He'll tell you, I call it straight, my friend. So, no, we're not biased. But we call
I'm a Leigh fan, not a Warrington fan.
Yeah, exactly. But it's dead easy, isn't it? It's dead easy. Next week, we'll have low. I mean, Craig Rigby.
If we keep sending December off to the NRL, Craig's going to sue us.
Yeah, but Craig, we've got Leigh Partington, we've got Dawn Baker, we've got Craig Rigby, we've got loads of Wigan fans. And I'm pretty sure they'd all put in the chat, I am not anti-Wigan. I'm not biased against Wigan. I just call it straight. Right, okay. So
we might be when we play Wigan. But not on this show.
Not on this show. Right, okay, let's get into some serious stuff, okay, first and foremost. As you know, we have a membership, okay? Go and take a look at the membership. Go and take a look. Support Super League Raw. For less than a latte a month, you get this entertainment. And we reinvest it into you guys, the fans, because this time, next week, a lucky member of Super League Raw will be on the way to the Challenge Cup final. 2 tickets will be given away this time next week for the Challenge Cup final to our members. Happy days. That's just one of many prizes. Got season tickets up for grabs. We've got loads of good stuff. We had a quiz in April. It is back in May. Oh, yeah, that's right. The Super League Raw quiz is back next Monday, the 13th. Dawn Kirkby, was the winner of the Super League Raw quiz, the first one in April. It was a great night. She won herself a signed Tom Opperchick rugby ball. Fantastic stuff. So that's what she got as a Hull KR fan. And there will be more prizes up for grabs. If you remember, you get free entry into this. If you're not a member, for £3.40, you can come along on Monday night, enjoy a good hour of quizzing, test your knowledge against other Super League fans, have a bit of a laugh, have a bit of a giggle, and you will walk away with a prize. And the good prizes, the good prizes. So there's going to be probably a couple this time around. So be a part of that. Tickets are on sale now at Eventbrite. Whatever you're watching this on right now, it is in the description of the feed. So if you're on YouTube, look in the feed. If you're on Facebook, look in the title of Super League Raw, and you'll get a little click that you can do. It'll take you to Eventbrite. Get your tickets. Come and join us next Monday for our quiz night. We would love your company. It was a great night, chaps, wasn't it? The first one.
Oh, really enjoyed it.
Yeah, good times. It was good times. Happy days.
Outstanding. Stuart just signed up.
Stuart, minute. Yeah, Stuart. Yeah. Stu, sign up, Chief. Sign up. Become a part. Absolutely.
To be fair to Stu, he said he'd like to meet up for a beer and a chat before a Wigan game. So
fantastic. Yeah, love to. And Stu,
do that,
support.
Do that, Stuart.
For less than a latte a month, you can support Super League Raw. We're putting loads of great content out. We're keeping you entertained on a Tuesday night. Show us some support. Go and check out the memberships. Get free entries to the quiz. It pays itself in that respect. And you never know, you might go away with some prizes. Happy days. Dawn says she can't see those comments. What comments are them, Dawn? Let us know what you're talking about. That would be marvellous. Right, okay. Also, of course, we're now getting a little bit of notoriety in the world. Our members have had the Jenna Brooks in conversation for the last week. That is now going to be going out tomorrow, Wednesday at 8 o'clock. You can see in conversation with Jenna Brooks, where she talks about a life in and out of the game of rugby league. Really fascinating stuff. That's going to be available on podcast and webcast on YouTube, podcast on Apple, Amazon, and Spotify. That is tomorrow. And here it comes. This is going to make Dawn happy. I am proud to announce that our next In Conversation will be Liam Marshall of the Wigan Warriors. Me and Liam will be sitting down later this week. If you are a Team Talk member and you would like me to ask Liam a question on your behalf, send me an email through our Patreon site and I will pose your question to Liam Marshall as a part of that interview. That will be going out to the membership probably over the weekend. It will be going out on general 2 weeks tomorrow. So it's not going to be until 2 weeks tomorrow when Liam Marshall goes out, because we always give the members at least a week because, of course, they're supporting us and they get it for that first week. Liam Marshall. I mean, what a great...
You like Wigan?
I don't. But I've got Liam, and I had a quick pre-interview, just a little bit of a setting of a scene with him. I'm sending one now. Dave Craig Rigby's happy about that. Liam Lowell will be my first pick if he's at Warrington. That's Andy Bibby, absolutely. But yeah, really looking forward to that, because let's be fair, Marshall, Challenge Cup final, scored the try that won it. Grand final, try that won it. We know what, his mum passed away and he plays World Club Championship and wins it. So that's going to be a wonderful discussion. Arguably one of the best wingers we've had in the Super League over the last 4 or 5 years. So I'm really looking forward to sitting down with him in the next couple of days, and that will be coming out for your viewing pleasure, guys. Happy days.
Yeah, he interviews really well. When he's done the punditry and stuff when he's been injured, he's always been excellent. So that should be an outstanding interview. Really looking forward to that one.
Get a good insight into the number of great wingers that Wigan have been producing.
Absolutely.
Over the last few years. For Liam Marshall, it's got to keep on his toes.
Yeah. Well, there's more In Conversations coming. So, like I say, we'll keep them coming. But yeah, really pleased that we've cracked Wigan. We've got our first Wigan Warrior, Liam Marshall, coming to you very, very soon. Right, okay, guys. As you know, it's been Bank Holiday weekend. I'm up against it a little bit at the moment. So, and really, game of the week would be Warrington Hull KR. I don't have time to do a game of the week for Warrington Hull KR. So we're just going to do it as part of this. This, of course, now goes out as the prediction show. Like I said last week, some people just like to listen to our predictions, which is their right. That's fine. So this will go out separately as a prediction show, as always. So, guys, we need to get into a bit more detail than normal here in terms of these games, because unfortunately there will not be a game of the week this week. I do apologise for that, but it will be back the week.
No need to apologise, mate.
When everything else settles down. So, what we'll do, as we always do, we'll start it off by quickly taking a look at how the league looks going into it. And of course, there you go. The top 6 all on 14 points going into round number 11. Chaps, have we ever had a better time of it? I think Martin Sadler said in League Express, has there ever been a league table after 10 rounds as close as that? It bodes well for a very exciting end of the season in terms of playoffs, League Leaders Shield, etc. It's progressing well, isn't it, Greg?
It is, and I can't remember a league table so tight after this point in the season for a long, long time. And you just look at Rhinos, who haven't had the best start to a season again.
No,
and they're only slightly off the pace. Yeah. As are the Giants, who again had a very ordinary start to the season. So yeah, it's going to be over the next few weeks, and I think over the next few weeks, this is where we're going to start seeing the teams that are going to be competing for that grand final.
Well,
some games coming up.
Couldn't have said it better, sir. Couldn't have said it better. Steph?
Yeah, it's great that it's so compact there at the top, and who'd have foreseen that at the beginning of the season? But we're only a third through. There's 2/3 to go, and I think a lot of those top teams are going to start playing each other now as well. So it'd be interesting when they start taking points off each other where that goes. But I think in reality, at least 5 of those top 6 are going to be there at the end of the season.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, it's really what we've seen this season. We've seen some really interesting results. We've seen Salford beat the Warriors. For example, Cass beat Salford. Let's be fair. We've seen some really interesting results. It's not over until the lady sings, as it were, and I think it's going to be outstanding. Callum Calvert in the house. Callum, a proud Super League Raw member. Sorry for being late, and so you should be. You should be nowhere else than here at 8 p.m. on a Tuesday. How dare you, sir? Is what I would say. But we'll let you off for a week. Don't you worry about that. Right, let's get into the prediction league, and this is how it looks. It couldn't be tighter, really. Gary Schofield should actually no. Schofield's wrong. 21-5, 105, 38. Should be 153. That. So my apologies. Schofield is top. Then I'm there on 152. Then Joel 151. Greg's still ahead of Steph on 133. But it's still all to play for. Still all to play for is the prediction league. Right, let's go in to round 11 fixtures. A belter to kick us off. We'll get into this one in a moment. The Wolves taking on the Robins. That is going to be superb. I just go against the Saints, and I'm telling you, I'm really looking forward to a chat around that one as well. That's an interesting combo we're about to have. Leopards, Red Devils, 2 entertaining sides. A lot of people's second teams, these. They've got, I think they've gained a lot of friends over the last few years, Salford and the Leopards. So that's going to be an interesting chat. Giants go up against the Warriors, Dragons, Rhinos, Broncos, Hull FC. Let's kick it off by having a quick chat about this one. The Wire against Hull KR. Of course, Matt Duffy came off with an ankle issue last week, but should be okay, we believe. Matty Ashton is back for this one, so that's good. No more Connor Wrench. Still is going to be out for Warrington. He's not back for this. Oliver Gildart is expected to be out. James Batchelor and Elliot Minchella are 50-50. We're hearing that will be a big blow. These are the teams. We'll come back to that graphic in a minute. So you can see there, Matty Ashton is in the squad. Harrison back in the squad as well. So Warrington, a couple of players last week were given a little bit of a rest, but they're back in, Crowther and Harrison. You look down the roster there of the Robins. It's a fine side. They're going to come into this, I think, with pretty much the same team-ish as what we saw against the Saints. Albeit, like I say, there are doubts, and it will be a big blow if Elliot Minchella was missing for Hull KR. That could be a swinger in the nicest possible way. Right, current league position, second place, 4th, beautiful. Current game odds, 4-9 on Warrington, 19-10 Hull KR. Fewless, can he back it up? And there's no doubt Petter Hiku has been phenomenal, and of course coming up against his former side, that's going to be interesting at the HJ. If you look at the last 5, you can see both of these two teams have lost out to Catalan. Warrington 3 wins, Rhinos, Leopards, and Hull FC. As for Hull KR, some really impressive wins in there when you consider the last 2, the Warriors and the Saints dispatched. Fair play indeed to KR. Guys, this is a mouth-watering game. I mean, we talk about Rugby League being the winner. If both of these two turn up on Thursday night, we're in for some sparkling entertainment.
Yeah, it's going to be an absolute cracker. I can't wait for this one. I'm amazed at those odds at Hull KR.
Yeah,
2-1. You have to just beat Wigan and Saints, albeit they were both home games, weren't they? So that's potentially where they're looking at that with losing to Catalan 3 weeks ago, was it now? But I still think that's really big odds for KR there. But Warrington are getting the wins. That's the other part of it, isn't it? So it's going to be so tough to call. So tough to call this one. I have actually gone 1-8 Warrington. So, but don't get me lads, because my being at the bottom of the prediction league, that means absolutely nothing there. But I just think after last week, with all the adversity and all the emotion that was built up about the extra interchange and stuff, I think that threw Warrington off a little bit against Hull. And I think that Sam's going to use that to galvanise them this week and really motivate Warrington to put a performance on. And I hope there's a bigger crowd. The crowd was only 8,800 on at Warrington.
Yeah, it was. It was.
It's all on, yeah, but and it's going to be. I mean, I think the Robins will travel in better numbers, but
Yeah,
Hull playing in this side of the Pennines on a Thursday
Thursday
night.
night.
You've got no chance. You got no chance, have you?
I know, but given how well Warrington are playing, I'd have thought that didn't you have 10,000 on against Catalans though?
Yeah, but we had a lot of free tickets and
yeah. Well, even so, regardless of that, I think given how well Warrington are playing and given Hull KR's form, it's a mouthwater. If you can't advertise and market this game, then I hope it does get a really good crowd because it deserves it.
When you think as well, Steph, it's a bank holiday weekend.
Yes. True. Yeah. Oh, there was ultimately, there was factors in it, definitely. But they're saying that's a Thursday night. This one, isn't it? So I don't. How the attendance is normally on a Thursday from Warrington.
Well, I think it'd be similar. I think KR will come in better numbers, if I'm being honest. But I think it'll be set. They'll probably break 9, I would say. But we'll have to wait and see on that. In terms of this game, Greg, there's some really good matchups right across the park. I think the back lines, I don't know, the KR edge it, maybe. I don't know. The back line, it's hard to talk. I'll actually say that Ashton's back. I mean,
yeah, but Hall will be up against Thewlis, will he?
Hall will be Thewlis.
Yes.
Yeah, Hall up against Thewlis. That's and if it's Broadbent against Ty, that's.
Well, Broadbent's got unfinished business because if you remember, he was hooked in the Castleford game at the HJ.
Yeah. Yes, he was. Yeah.
No, he'll be up for this one. You'd have thought in terms of that. I mean,
the other side's pretty well matched.
I think the forwards goes the way of the Warrington. I think Warrington forwards. I think you could toss a coin in the backs. I think forwards Warrington.
This game is won and lost in the halves. If Hayes was playing, I would be a lot more confident. But Drinkwater against Lewis.
He played well, Drinkwater, though, last week.
He played okay. He played better than he has done.
Yeah,
I'll give him that. I'm not saying he played well, but he played better than he has done earlier in the season. He still needs to step up a few gears. I'd be a lot more comfortable, let's say, if it was Hayes and Williams in the middle.
Yeah.
You
can only judge him on his last game, and actually, I was pleasantly surprised by Drinkwater against FC.
Nobody more than me.
Yeah.
But to be fair, I think me and Steph could have played well against FC in the middle. Well, all right, maybe me then.
My back surgeon would disagree, I think.
But, what was I going to say? Lost me thread now. I have gone KR 9-17. Simply because of the Mikey Lewis factor. I know George Williams is there as well, but I think Mikey Lewis has got that bit of spark about him at this moment in time. And with May, I think that just kind of edges Drinkwater and Williams.
I think Burgess will have a plan for Lewis.
He may well do. Having said that, if Minchella isn't playing, and there's rumours that they've only sent a smaller squad, named a smaller squad, then I could quite easily see Wire winning. But I've got to go with my original prediction, which was 9-17 Hull KR.
Right. Well, let's get into the chat. John Wilkinson. Hello, John. I think it's been a couple of weeks since I've seen John Wilkinson in the chat. Wire8+, he's going in the chat. We've also got Dawn Baker going with you, Greg, 9-17 to KR. Wire 1-8, Craig Rigby, Robert Hickson going the same way. Andy Bibby, Wire by 16. Jack Brown now in the 21-man squad. Kai Fowler putting that one in. Fair play, Kai. Yeah, you're probably right. He must have been cleared for the game then. That's happy days if you're a KR fan. So again, pretty much on the fence in terms of this one. Gary Schofield, he's gone KR 9-17. Joel's gone Wire 1-8. The fans' form have gone KR 1-8. I'm going Wire 1-8. So Nicola Burton and Callum Calver have both gone the Wire 1-8 as we've been talking. So real solid game, this one. Again, I just hope both of these two sides. It was to be fair, it was a bad pitch and it was a gritty first game when Warrington beat KR earlier in the season. Hopefully, looks like the weather's going to be good. Nice fast track. Really, quality players in transition. Evels, Hicku, Broadbent, Lewis on one side, Ashton. Lofty. Oh, this has got it all. It really should be sparkling entertainment on Thursday night. Make sure you pull up a chair.
Just to interrupt there, Dave. Twitter, or X it's now called, Luke Yates is definitely coming to Wire next season.
Yeah, that's. I think that's a their uncertainty with regards to that. Right, happy days, wonderful stuff. So that's the Wire. So and again, you can always tell really close in terms of the way that people have gone there. Right, let's move on to the next one. This is interesting. This is really, if this game had come up 3 weeks ago, I'm going 18 plus St. Helens, and I think most people would. But actually, all of a sudden, I mean, you look down that list there, and nobody expected them to beat the Red Devils. They did. They beat the Broncos. Fair play. Nobody would have expected them to have gone to the Leopards and got a draw. Especially when you consider what the score line was at 70 minutes in that game. So the heart and desire that Castleford showed to come back, as much as that hurts Steph, was phenomenal. Currently position 10, plays third. 7-2, plays 2-9. Tex Hoy, absolutely. I'll say, I put my hands up. The lad's in great form at the minute. He's the one to watch. And Lewis Dodd, because Lewis Dodd has got to show some form. And there's got to actually, he's going to be paid big bucks. He's going to South Sydney. He's got to repay these Saints fans. He's got to produce. He has to produce. So I think there's a lot of pressure now on Lewis Dodd in his last season at Saints. It's all well and good saying that Saints have made him as a man and as a player. Yeah, you show that on the field, Lewis. So this is a big moment for him. But you look at the Saints. They beat the Warriors. They were flying at that point, of course. They've lost to the Dragons. They've lost to the Robins. They've lost to Warrington. You look at the wins there, Giants and FC. I mean, dearie me, the ejector seat would be being pushed by Saints fans if they'd have lost against those two where Wellens is concerned. This isn't as straightforward, chaps, as perhaps it might have been. I'm not saying for 1 minute Cats are going to win this, but I think they'll give it a really good go. They go into it. Sam Hall will be missing. Sam Wood will be missing. That's a big blow on the left edge if Sam Wood's not there. He's been fantastic. Jason Gary has signed a new contract, albeit it probably won't feature. No real other changes really for Castleford, other than the fact they might be losing Sam Wood and Hall out of the starting 17 that played against at the LSB. As for Saints, Tommy Makinson should be back. Jake Wingfield is available for selection, but Matt Whitley's probably not going to be there, but they've got plenty of cover in those back row positions. Have Saints. Greg, do you agree that this isn't as straightforward as perhaps maybe it would have been 4 weeks ago?
I think I do, yeah. And just before we go to that, what was your prediction for Warrington Hull KR, Dave? Did you say it?
1-8, mate.
1-8 for Warrington?
To the Wire, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I got distracted by the Luke Yates chat on Twitter. No, you're absolutely spot on. That performance against Leigh, as Steph has said, I think, Steph, you would have been there and watched it in the flesh. Nobody with 10 minutes to go would have thought that. And Castleford will be galvanised by that, I think. Having said that, they might have a couple of players out. As we'll say, I mean, Whitley's a big miss in the second row. Making is big for Saints as well. No, you're right. You're right. It's going to be closer than a lot of people think, and I've gone Saints 18 plus. I think it's one of those games where it will be it's going to go one of two ways. Saints are going to absolutely blow them away in the first half, and Castleford maybe come back into it later on, or it's going to be nip and tuck for about 50, 60 minutes, and then Saints are going to run away with it and stretch the they're the two scenarios I can see happening.
If I'm a Cass fan, I want Jack Wellsby to shush me, because that's not been boding well for him this season, Steph. How do you see it? How do you see it?
I'm with you, Dave, on this one. I think about 4 weeks ago, you'd have said this would have been 40 plus, never mind 18 plus. But given how well Cass played against us and seeing him in the flesh on Saturday, I also think there's a lot of pressure on St. Helens. A lot of pressure. It's another away game. Going to Castleford. And you can imagine the talk if they do lose this one. Good grief. I was laughing at Alex Sharp's comment that Cass 18 plus Welland's out. I think it would be. I think we'd all be saying that if that happened. But no, I do see Saints winning it. I think they're going to just have enough in this one, and I've gone for 9-17 to Saints. So not Reggie's 18 plus, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was closer.
Well,
neither would I. But
well, I think what has Cass got to lose? What
Exactly.
have we got to lose? It's one of them. It's a free hit for Cass, isn't it? Really. Obviously, it's on a tight pitch as well at the Jungle. The fans' form have gone Cass 1-8. Couldn't believe that.
Wow.
Fans' form have gone Cass 1-8. Wow.
Well, that stir things up a bit if that was true.
Well, never mind a statue of Wellens in St Helens. He'll be outside Castleford if they win that.
Well, Andy Bibby saying, Wellens will be under massive pressure if he lost this. He would. I agree with you. There's no doubt about that. Gary Schofield sees it Saints 18 plus, as does Greg has said the same. Joel has gone 18 plus Saints. Lee, Steph has gone Saints 9-17, as have I. I think Saints will win it. They have to win it. They have to win it. It's as simple as that.
If they don't, the fat lady will be singing, not chucking bottles.
Yeah, well, yeah, steady on. Steady on. Steady on. We know, hello, no. No. On that topic.
But other sizes and genders are available.
But look, we haven't gone there. On that topic, we put Mark's graphic up, which was fair enough, bit of comedy, and I stand by it. That behaviour is unacceptable in a rugby league ground. Unacceptable. However, I did take it down because on reflection, it's not for us to police rugby league. It's not for us to, target whoever. So, look, this is now down to the Rugby Football League, St Helens and OKR, and every single one of those people should be banned from rugby league for life. End of. That's it. Over and done. And that's what I would say on that one. But yeah, so that's where we are for the Saints game. But yeah, I mean, a lot of love for Saints in the chat. Yellow card is coming your way from Alex Sharp there, Steph.
It's a straight red.
Yeah, it's straight red. Is it? It's straight red. Sorry. Yeah. Saints 9-17. A lot of people going Saints 9-17. Dawn Baker saying Saints by 4. Yeah, I mean, nobody in the chat has gone Cass. Oh, no, other than Alex Sharp in jest. But the fans forum, when I took the average, when I did the cut-off, the fans forum have gone Cass 1-8. So that's an interesting one. Right, let's move on to the game that will involve Steph's side, the Leigh Leopards. This should be a belter as well. Absolute stunning game, this. Two very exciting teams. Both like to play an expansive game of rugby league. Really like both of these sides when they're at it. 9th against 6th. Interesting. 8-15 on. Leigh Leopards, interesting. 13-8. I think Mark Sneed will be pivotal in this in terms of game management. I thought Lachlan Nam had his best game of the season, albeit in defeat against Castleford. So I think that is a really intriguing battle in the centre of the field. Leigh, they'll be devastated. I mean, Steph said it on Final Whistle. Could be a defining moment in terms of their top 6 ambitions. That 1 point. As for Salford, I mean, look at that there. They've lost 1 game in the last 5 to the Tigers. I mean, let's be fair. I think we said it that week. Was that an attitude thing? I mean, at the time, Castleford were in dire straits. Should never have gone to the Jungle and lost that. I mean, they could have easily been 5 from 5. But we're taking nothing away from Castleford at all. But I mean, they picked up some good scalps there. Leeds, Wolves, Giants. That is fair play. Rowley had took that at the start of the campaign. This is a belter, a real quality game. Before I bring Greg in on this, obviously John Asiata, we know he's out for 6 weeks. Gareth O'Brien is unlikely to feature him here, but Steph might have an inside track on that. Robbie Mulhern is expected to overcome his calf injury in time for this one, so that's positive. The pack, to be fair, is reforming. Dan Norman also should be available if he passes these final checks for HIA. As for the Salford Red Devils, Joe Mellor and Joe Shorrocks, they're major doubts, but the King Ronnie Yawa is back for this one. Greg, I've got a soft spot for both of these sides. I think they both play great rugby. This could be a little gem, this one.
I think it's going to be a great game.
Yeah,
a little bit like the League Castleford game. I think it's got the potential to be another cracking game. Two fairly evenly matched sides. Barring the odd knock and the odd injury here and there and the odd missing player. This season, at least, there was a bit of a difference last season. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this game. This is one I'm looking forward to after the Warrington Hull KR game, I've got to admit.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna have Steph and Leigh fans dancing in the streets because I've gone Salford 1-8.
Fair enough.
I've just got the freedom of the town of Leigh.
Well, Craig Ribby's gone Leigh 9-17. Dawn Baker's saying the same. This could be a great watch in the chat. Alex Craig saying it's a tough one to call. It is. Nicola Burton would write, no surprise. He's going Leigh tight 1-8. Come on, the Leopards, she says. Greg Roach 9-17. Salford. Sorry, Steph in dispatches he's put there. Lee Partington's gone Salford 1-8. Cartledge 1-8. John Wilkinson Salford 10+. So more edging on the way towards Salford. Gary Schofield's gone Salford 9-17. Joel's gone Leigh 1-8. The fans form have gone Salford 9-17. I'm going Leigh 1-8. I think they'll come back bigger and better. I think they'll be bit disappointed. I think maybe the Asiata thing and all that kind of stuff might be a bit unsettling last week. But they've got their heads around it now. Probably more conversations have been going on this week. Who's staying, who's going, all the rest of it. So I'm going to go Leigh 1-8 on the day. But it could go either way. Steph, any inside track on your team and where do you think this is going to go?
Yeah, Mullen said in the Legends Bar last week that he would be available this week if selected. So hopefully he's in. Gaz O'Brien's another 4 weeks away, so he definitely won't be in. It's a tough one, this, because Rowley's kind of got the measure of us at the LSV since we've come back to Super League. So it's always a tough game. But saying that, over at the AJ Bell or whatever it's called, it's changed now. Salford Community Stadium, is it now?
Yeah.
Earlier in the season, we were only one try away. It was Sneed's goal kicking that did the damage on that day. It'll probably do the same this week. But I do think, I'd like to think that we'll have a bit of a bounce back from last week, and I do think the Asiata thing had a bit of effect on us. But I think getting Mulhern back's massive, and I think we've a bit like you were saying with Warrington. I think our pack's slightly better than Warrington's when we've got a full pack. And again, Pappy's coming back for his second game now, so he's had that one match to get back in. So probably more optimism than anything else. But I've gone Leigh 1-8.
Fair enough. Leigh versus Salford is on BBC iPlayer as well. So There's a bit of good news. Thanks for that, Stuart Minnis. Alex Sharp, Leigh 9-17. Rob Higgs and Leigh 1-8. And Andy Bibby Salford by 4. Should be a compelling game. Really, really looking forward to that. Right, let's get over to the John Smith Stadium. The Giants taking on the Warriors. You just never know which Giants you're going to get. It's as simple as that, is what I would say. Jack Murchie back in contention for the Huddersfield Giants in this one. Matty English, though, he's out. That's a big blow. Plays well for him, does Matty English. No Harvey Levette, and Andre Savelio is also still unavailable. Sam Walters came through the reserve game, could feature in this one. Mike Cooper is also in contention after coming back from concussion protocols. You can see there, first against 8th, 17-10, 1-2. The Wigan Warriors, that's in normal time. Tell you what, that's not a bad bet, that 1-2. If money didn't matter to you, you had a bit of wedge. That's not a bad bet, to be fair.
It's all right, isn't it?
It's Lola Haya playing to watch. Bevan French. I think French needs a game. I think he's been decent. He's not been box office for a couple of weeks, and maybe this is a time for Bevan to hit his straps. Like I say, some really good wins in there. Catalan, of course, in the cups. Very close against Saints. Beating the Rhinos always goes down well if you're a Giants fan. But if you look at who they beat, Broncos, Hull FC, even the Rhinos, the way they've been playing, this is another big game. They were close against Saints. We're going to find out a little bit more about Huddersfield in this one. As for Wigan, again, a bit topsy-turvy. Lost against Saints, lost against the Robins, beat Leopards, Tigers and Dragons. It's hard not to see Wigan winning this, isn't it, Steph?
Yeah. I think the one with me, this one, is that Huddersfield's home form's not been the best, has it?
Last year, mate, the last win.
Say again?
August of last year was the last one at home.
Yeah, which is incredible, isn't it, really? And as good as Huddersfield have been this season, all those have come pretty much on the road, haven't they?
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
Well, it's the pressure of playing in front of those couple of fans they've got at home. It's... Yeah, get ready for Greg and Greg Roach now in the chat. There's steam coming off his keyboard now. Sorry, Greg, I'm only joking. It's 10. Carry on.
Yeah. I'm sure the Cobell Army will be out in numbers for this one while the Warriors are in town. I'm expecting a 7,000 crowd for this one, plus 7,000 plus for this one. But I just think we're going to have too much for them. So sorry to my Cobell Army fans there. But I've gone Wigan 9-17.
9-17 Wigan. It's not a blowout in 9-17. 3 scores, Greg.
Yeah, Huddersfield. What a strange side. They should have beat Saints. They shouldn't have got as close as they did to Salford. If there's 7,000 in that stadium, the Huddersfield players will have earmuffs on. They won't be able to cope with the noise. Sorry, Greg. I've gone Wigan 9-17.
Yeah, I have to agree. You know, if we're going to go in, if we're going all in for Mr. Roach, I have to say it'd be a bit off-putting because the cowbell won't be reverberating around the ground. You know, there'll be no echo. There'll be that many in the stadium. That'll be a bit different as well. Oh, Greg, I tell you, he's not happy, is he? He's not happy. He's not gonna, hey, there you go. Even Joel's going in. Yeah, this is what happens, Joel. If you don't come on, Joel. This is what happens. You know what I mean?
Actually, Freddie's making a real good point there. It's the third home game in 10 games.
Third home game in 10 games.
That's a good point. That
it is a good point. Just imagine if they'd have all been at home. Where would you have been then, Freddie? Anyway, let's move on. We're only joking. We love our Cowbell Army fans. We do. But they're not going to like me. I'm going to Wigan 18 plus.
Just remember, it's all harmless.
It's all harmless banter. And actually, I don't know what Joel's going all upset about. He's gone Wigan 18 plus as well. So Joel's upset with what I'm saying. He's gone Wigan 18 plus. Fans Forum, they've gone Wigan 9-17. All the love going the way of the Wigan Warriors. Fantastic. Right, now then, let's get into this one. Catalan Dragons taking on the Leeds Rhinos. Right, this is an interesting game, and I'm going to tell you for why in an Uncle Bryn kind of way. Right, here we go. So Catalan Dragons, 5th taking on 7th. Current game odds 4-11 on the Dragons, 23-10 the Rhinos. I think it's a big game for Sinfield. I think he will play again. There's no doubt about it. Jordan Abdul, I thought his kicking game at the Warriors in the first half was why they went in ahead. Second half, he faded. I have to say, we've said this a couple of times. Doesn't look 100% fit, Jordan Abdul, to me. He needs to. That's just my interpretation of him this season. The Catalan Dragons, lost the last 2, Leopards and the Warriors, and badly. And when you factor in Huddersfield's demolition of him in Perpignan, they've had, I think it's 96 points in those 3 games. So their defence at the moment is not standing up to the test. Look at the Leeds Rhinos, again, very similar to what we were saying about another team a moment ago. They beat the Tigers, they beat Hull FC, and they beat the Broncos. Now, I'm sorry, Leeds Rhinos fans, but if you have any credibility, you're the mighty Leeds Rhinos. You should be winning them games as well. They've lost against Wolves. They've lost against the Giants. They now come up against Catalan. This is a massive game for the Leeds Rhinos. It's a huge game because, for me, they've been all over the place this season. They're not playing great rugby. Yes, they've had injuries, but so have other teams. Look at Leigh. There's a perfect example of that. Look at Hull FC's had a lot of injuries. Injuries happen in a season. This is a big game. This is a big, big game for the Leeds Rhinos. The good news is Ben Garcia is not going to be there. That's a massive bonus if you're a Leeds fan. Seguire's probably out. Desiree, they haven't said, but Mickey McAlorum is back after his suspension. It's unlikely. There's concerns, but will Croft play? Lum, I can't see playing because he went off with a strain. There's no way he's turning that around in the amount of days he's got. So he's gone. Momorowski's not there. It was announced today that Bentley won't play for the foreseeable. I think July was mentioned, I saw in a report today, for James Bentley, which is great for James Bentley and his health and well-being, but bad if you're a Leeds Rhinos fan. Gannon, of course, still nowhere. Foster Tua still nowhere. Tom Oldroyd, not expected to feature again, as is James Donaldson. But the good news is Harry Newman they're expecting Newman back. So that's a bonus. So no Garcia, Newman back on the other side. Like I say, Steph, will start with you on this one. Leeds. This is massive for Leeds for me. They need to perform in this game.
Yeah, it is a huge game. I think it'll probably not define Leeds this season, but it's going to have a big impact on it, I think, from a confidence perspective. Because, like you said, the teams that they have beaten have been pretty average teams, haven't they, recently? Whereas, well, you could class Leigh as an average team that beat Catalan, but Catalan at home are different gravy. Unless you're the Cowbells, once back for the Cowbells there, he battered them in Perpignan. At home, they're a different side. And I think after the last two results, Steve McNamara is going to want a big performance here against the Rhinos. I don't think Croft will play, but I might be wrong there. And I think Lund missing, as good as he was on debut, is a big factor for them. But getting Newman back is another big thing. So there's quite a lot of thingy there. But I've gone for Catalan to put a bit of a score on me. I've gone 18 plus. Sorry, Alex. I know Alex is going over there. I hope it is a better performance than that, but that's what I think it will be.
He's all right. They do good staking.
The good news is I'm pretty much bottom of the prediction league, so I'll be wrong on that one as well. So
he'll have a lovely weekend, mate. All that wonderful beef and vino and
mustache kebab.
Beautiful stuff. Greg, over to you, Catalan.
Yeah, as Steph says, it's hard to. This could be a defining game for any other team, but Leeds have a habit of having a poor start. Everybody thinks they're out of the running, and then they put results together at the end of the season, qualify in the top six, and next thing they're in the grand final. So I know what Steph's getting at there, but this season I think this could be a little bit more important. I think it's a must-win for Leeds, if I'm being honest. But I'm going Catalan 9-17 because I think Catalan will be smarting. I think they tend to perform, apart from the Huddersfield game, in front of their own fans. So yeah, I've gone Dragons 9-17.
Radio, Alex Sharp there saying that, of course, they beat him earlier in the season and he thinks they'll do better than the 61-0 that they had last year. Andy Bibido thinks it's a 20-pointer. Robert Igson, 9-17, the Dragons. He's going. Dawn, 9-17, Dawn Baker. That's where she's going tonight. Nicola Burtonwood, another member, 9-17. Michael Bell, welcome back, Michael. Consider becoming a member, sir. Catalan by 18 plus. Lee Partington is a member. He's gone Leeds 1-8. So that's an interesting one, 1-8. Greg Roach asking if Croft is fit. We'll find out when the teams come out tomorrow, Greg, on that. Let's quickly run down it then. There's a surprise. Gary Schofield has gone Catalan 18 plus. Something tells me that Gary Schofield wants Rowan Smith out. He's not a fan. I've gone Catalan 9-17. Joel has gone the same, as has the fans forum, 9-17. No one going the Leeds Rhinos in terms of the official prediction. We then finish round number 11 with the game in London. Again, should be an interesting one. We'll just get rid of Dawn's comment there. Not because we don't like Dawn's comment. It's just because we need to look at the screen. London Broncos, of course, yet to get a win. But here we go. Last five. They both lost the last five. So if London are going to get one, this is the game for me. And if they don't win this one, I do fear for them over the course of the season. The law of averages says they must win at least one. But if they don't win this, when is it going to come? Question mark. Player to watch. The man that just made my weekend, Mr. Alex Walker. What a pass from Alex Walker. Oh, I'm still basking in the glory of it now. Beautiful, Alex, lad. Oh, hit me again with one of them, son. Hit me again with one of them. Phenomenal stuff. 16-5, the London Broncos. 1-4 on. And, of course, Jake Truman. That was the big bonus for Warrington. Jake Truman back for the second half. Set the try up as well. He is quality. Let's hope his injury concerns are behind him. He's massive for Hull FC. And the fact that he'll probably play the full 80, that is going to be very interesting indeed. Right. Okay, chaps. What are our thoughts on this one?
I'll go first.
Go for it.
I think this is the Broncos' first win of the season. I think I think they'll win 9-17 as well. I don't think they'll just squeak through. Nothing against Hull. I just think that there's been a lot of upheaval around the club, around Hull. There's been more upheaval this week. They can't have had any kind of settling influences with all the ins and outs and the rumours and everything flying around. I'm going London because, you know, they did in flashes put some good stuff together against Rhinos. I just think this is the week where Broncos break the duck.
Fantastic. My apologies, but I've had to ban Yamin Alta from Super League Raw. So for those people who love a good kiboshing, Yamin Alta has left the building. Oh yes, we're not having any of that. Get out of my page.
I was just about to deliver me free phone.
No, I was applying for the job.
He's gone. He's gone. So for those of you who love an eviction, you don't need Big Brother. Just watch Super League Raw on a Tuesday. Yamin is out of there. Yakety yak. Don't talk back. Right, over to Steph. Your thoughts on London Broncos, my friend?
Yeah, it's. I think this could be a really good game, actually. I'm in Reggie's camp. I think London might do it this week. It's a trekking it down to London for the LFC boys, and if they're not on it, then. Then London will come out and put a performance on, I think. So I'm not going as crazy as Reggie. I'm going London 1-8. So we'll see. But I'm backing my mate Mike Eccles on this one.
Well, gentlemen, a lot of love for London. The fans forum have gone London 1-8. Joel's gone London 1-8. Schofield's gone Hull FC 18+. I don't see that, but I've gone Hull FC 9-17. Everything points to a London loss, but nobody will be happier than me because of Mike Eccles. I think the guy's quality. Like the fella, really, never met him. Would love to meet him. Love to do an in-convo with him. I think he comes across brilliantly well. He deserves a win. I think his conduct, very similar to Mark Applegarth last year at Wakefield. I mean, his conduct has been superb. So, nothing will give me greater pleasure than to see London win this. But I do think Truman back is big. The fact they've got Chan as well this week, he's a good player. He's a lot better than a lot of what they've got.
Truman's ball to Briscoe for the try against Warrington was really good. He was great. My prediction is more. I just want them to win a game.
I think we all do.
We're all backing them to win a game, but I do think it is the best chance at the moment.
Well, one of my favourite in the sheds last year was when Wakey beat Leeds and broke the duck. That was a moment of pure beauty, and I really enjoyed it.
Alex liked that one. You loved that one, Alex.
Yeah. Loved it. Yeah, Alex did. Yeah. I think I recall saying they were marching home together in tears. I think is what I think in that one. But it was a great in the sheds, and like I say, I'd love to do it in the sheds over the course of this weekend where London have come out winning. It will be absolutely marvellous if that was the case. So there you go. That's how we see it. That's how we're predicting it. Don't know. We might be right. We might be wrong. I don't know. But that's the way we see it. Right. Before we go, don't go anywhere. Let's go through what's happening on Super League Raw. First and foremost, we do need your support. For less than a latte, join the membership. It's in the comments. It's in the description. As is how you can join us next week for the Super League Raw Quiz Night of May. It's an online interactive quiz. It's multiple choice. You will play on your laptop, but you will also play on your phone. You need two devices. Basically, you will select your answer on your phone, lock it in. There's leaderboards. There's all sorts of good stuff. You'll really enjoy yourself. And like I say, by becoming a member, you're automatically involved in the quiz anyway. So go over to the Patreon website, take a look at the memberships. We do need your support. Loads of great content coming your way, loads of prizes coming your way, but we do need your support. And for less than a latte a month, one latte a month, that's all we're asking. Help us, support us, allow us to give it back to you. It'd be marvellous. And come and join us for that quiz night. Get over to Eventbrite, book your tickets. If you're a non-member, £3.40. If you are a member, you're automatically enrolled. Tomorrow, Jenna Brooks, In Conversation, available for your viewing pleasure. Liam Marshall's on the way as well. Wonderful, wonderful stuff. Please, please, please support us. Love doing it for you. But I need your support. I really do. Great show, chaps. Really, really good show. Looking forward to this weekend. It should be good.
Yeah, some good games.
Yeah.
And you know, the ones like that Lee Castleford game last weekend, we didn't really think, no disrespect to either side, that was going to be the classic game that it was. And let's hope there's more of that this week.
Yeah. You're the same, Steph, yeah?
Yeah, no, it's. I think the good thing as well is that most of the games we'll be able to watch. I think there's only one clash, isn't there, which is Friday.
Yeah.
Leigh and Salford and...
Yeah, there's a couple of clashes on Friday. I think, apart from that, we're good. Yeah, one, yeah.
There's only one other.
Yeah.
I think, there's
there's
two
one
on Friday, one Saturday, one Sunday.
Right.
So, fantastic week of Rugby League for everybody.
That's a good point, that, Alex. We're going to have to be quick. Callum Calvey, you missed it. Marshall in conversation. That's going to be coming in a couple of weeks' time and recording that this week. Right, we did say, has anybody got a question? Question of the week. Should have said that when we were doing the London game. My apologies. So quick, question of the week. Put a question in the chat now and we will answer it. Anything you want to know.
There was one earlier on in the chat about who did we think was who's the breakout player.
We'll go with that one.
Can't remember who that was.
I can't. Great shout. We'll do that one.
Breakout player.
We need to remember that for next week. Who has been the best breakout player in 2024? Greg.
Thanks. That's a tough one. It's as tough as the one we were asked last week. Breakout player. Being completely biased, I'd have to say Leon Hayes, maybe. Being completely biased.
Yeah, it has been a breakout this year. Dawn Baker's got Ensemble. I'd have put him out. I was raving about Ensemble last year, Dawn, if you remember. I'd have put him into year's bracket. He's don't get me wrong, he's getting better and better. But I was raving over Ensemble last year. What about yourself, Steph?
I'm going to go a bit left field and I'm going to pick Broadbent. As a breaker, it's someone who's not really, even Charles actually at Hull FC.
Yeah, he's got potential, hasn't he?
It's easy to go for the bigger team ones, isn't it? But I think if players who've got potential, it's a breakout player, someone we didn't know about.
Yeah.
Then I think even Wood at Castleford as well, I think it's been outstanding.
Yeah.
Possibly Zakeem. Possibly El Zakeem as well.
That's a shout. That's a shout.
He's had a good season, Zakeem.
Yeah, we're going to be going out in a minute with the top performance from up to round 10. And I mean, like El Zakeem, really, really good pickup.
Hanley, someone said.
Yeah, let's go to Hanley. Tanginoa, there's a lot of people saying Tanginoa. Tanginoa's been a quality player for years. Yeah. I mean, he's just, unfortunately, he's just had two injuries. But I mean, for me, it was no surprise last year that when Tanginoa come back, Wakey started to improve significantly. He's that big of an impact player.
Yeah.
I think your point on Hayes is well made. I think Hanley at Leigh, very, very good. But I'll tell you now, just to throw my own in here, in a beaten side, I think Ollie Leyland at London, from an attacking perspective, not necessarily defence, he's got to work on his defence, but from an attacking perspective, I think Ollie Leyland this season, he's not doing himself any harm at all. And if Alex Walker carries on delivering poetry on a rugby field like he did last week, I'll tell you, if I couldn't have his babies, outstanding stuff.
Ollie Partington at Salford.
Ollie Partington, well, he's been around a few years, hasn't he?
Yeah, but he's gone to Salford. He went from Wigan to Salford, and he's actually started playing really well now, hasn't he?
He'll be Catalan next year, rumour has it.
Yates, Huddersfield.
No, Yates has been class for years. Years, man.
And going back to December, he'll rip it up in the NRL next season.
Oh yeah, junior. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'll be buying his NRL shirt.
Yeah, when he's at the Broncos.
Surfing on Bondi Beach with Tom Amone and Tyler Dupree.
Don't just switched off. Outstanding stuff. Right, okay, look.
Stuart did have one more point about longest drop goal he'd ever seen.
Ooh, not. What was the one in the NRL? There was one in the NRL. Was it Ben Reynolds?
Yeah, for the 2-pointer.
Oh, that was glorious. Yeah.
Joe Lydon.
I think that's what Stuart said, Joe Lydon. I was right behind that.
Yeah.
At Main Road, he missed by 10 yards. Anyway, moving swiftly on.
Yeah. Craig's left the WhatsApp group, Alex Sharp said.
Yes.
Don Baker saying, shut up. Happy days. Right. So, for those of you, there's loads of you still watching. Thank you very much indeed. What we're going to do, we're going to go out with 3 things here. 1, the quiz night. Look, you need to be a part of this on Monday. Next Monday, 8 o'clock. Do come and join us. It'll be a great laugh. Not wrote it yet. That's another thing that I've got to do this week.
Blimey, Dave.
It's going to be a great quiz night. There are going to be prizes. There will be announced on the day. Like I say, Don Kirkby loved the rugby ball. It's going to be absolutely quality. Don't you worry about that. So we're going to go out with a little promo for the quiz. We'll do the top performers. We will be back next Tuesday, as always, 8 p.m. for more Super League Raw Weekly. Catch the Final Whistle podcast, round 11. And can I just put a final shout out to 2 people, Ryan Birch and Carrie. They were Super League Raw members right from the beginning, but because they're loving what we're doing, they both upgraded this week off their own accord. Weren't asked to do so, but they upgraded because they're loving what we're doing. So a big thank you to both Carrie and to Ryan for doing that. You didn't have to do that. You've done it because you wanted to do that. And, you know, from the bottom of my heart, guys, it means the world. So thank you very much
guys,
for doing that. It's really good. So, guys, we'll see you next week for more Super League Raw Weekly. Chaps, as always, thank you for your company. Can't beat a bit of weekly. Bye for now.
Ta-da.
Welcome, one and all, to the first Super League Raw quiz. %, Roby. And the good news for those who didn't get the fastest finger first is that everybody is wrong. It's Alan Tate.
Let's do it!
Steph's winning by 4 now. This is not just unacceptable. Totally unacceptable. It's 42, which means that Dawn, the girl that has been talking all night, saying that she's got everything wrong, the one that's been giving us a bit of karaoke all evening, 6 minutes and 14 seconds. Dawn, congratulations, you are getting an official Hull KR rugby ball. Go and get it signed.
Are the top performers after 10 rounds of the Betfred Super League. Out on his own as the top try scorer is the magnificent Adam Swift of the Huddersfield Giants with 11. Brodie Croft has made the most tries for his teammates with 12 for the Leeds Rhinos. The most metres continue to be made by Matt Duffy of the Warrington Wolves with 1,845. The most devastating tackle buster is Tim Lafai with 84. The clean breaks are shared between Innis Senior, Matt Duffy and Adam Swift. All of them have 12. The most offloads have come from Nene McDonald of the Salford Red Devils with 22. Whilst the most hard meters made by a prop forward second rollers forward is still Paul Vaughan of the Warrington Wolves with 1,125. The most tackles have been made by Cameron Smith with 390 for the Leeds Rhinos. And finally, still leading the goal-kicking charts is Mark Sneed of the Salford Red Devils with 36. These are your top performers after 10 rounds.